Goes forward.
All right, thank you very much. He stole my first 5 minutes of my presentation, but that's okay. So for some of you who don't know me, some of you do, my name is Steve Phillips. I really want to thank everybody before I get started, because this room it's incredibly humbling to be at this side of the room. About a year ago, I discovered your group by necessity, I believe, and I came to Quinton, a man looking for help, and this group has kept me motivated through the entire year. I've done a lot of growth over this year, and it's because of people like you and the way you handle your business and the way you push people. So know that you're making a difference without really even talking, because I know a lot of us haven't talked, but you're all making a difference even in my business, just motivating me to keep going. This presentation did come about on a weird drive to Dion's presentation, or wherever he is, Dion's presentation a few months back. It was winter at the time. We were going into a car ride, and it was the first time we'd actually been together one-on-one ever. And I was terrified I was going to be a weirdo driving Quinton around, making him feel uncomfortable for an hour. So I decided I'm going to lean with something that I'm passionate about, and hopefully this guy buys in a little bit. And what I leaned into was my adventure to Costa Rica. My wife is in the front row, Laura, and the two of us together took on this crazy idea a few years back, and really it motivated me and it changed me. And it's funny because I'm sure tonight when you all showed up and you saw this on the email blast, you weren't expecting a 32-year-old with two kids to come walking in and talk to you about how I retired.
No.
Right? That's probably not the shtick you're used to. But it was an experience that I believe you'll learn from as well. So how did I do that? Really, this group is all about how. I find that I learn more about our how here. How do I make money? How do I get better? How do I improve? But for me in this presentation, it's a lot about the why. It all comes down to the why. So this is my why. This is my wife in the front here. I don't know if there's a pointer. There's my beautiful wife, Laura. My little daughter here in the bottom, Mia. And there's, if you can see, I don't know if you were here last month, but my son, Duke, was just joined us about 4 or 6 weeks ago. Time is flying. With a lack of sleep, I don't know really what day it is anyways, but yeah, so that's all part of my why, and that wasn't around when I went to Costa Rica. So this is where I am today. What did I gain from it? My why is now involving sunsets. I really became passionate about sunsets. I watched every single one, and I just lived for them every single day. So when I was developing myself at this point in my life, I decided sunsets are important to me. I don't know why. I feel good when I look at a sunset and I sit on the beach and I can enjoy the break and the surf and just hang out. So Costa Rica provided that for me, because every day that I was there, it was a different sunset, and it was important. This slide here was meant to have another picture on there. But part of my why now is also including land. I want land. I want land for my beautiful family to grow up with. And I'd like to have about 15 acres where we could hang out. Simple dreams, little house, simple things. You know, I can build a golf course in the back for my own private enjoyment. I'm a simple man. I have simple dreams. But that's what I want. And then part of that is going to be, I want to spend 4 to 6 months with my family in a tropical place. I want to be able for my kids to experience a different culture, a different lifestyle, something that's different. And that is very important to our why right now. And that's what we're working for. My original slide had me as Mr. Nest Egg. I'm logoed up tonight. It is my first night. I'm coming out, kind of a coming out party. Don't hold it against me. But it's all about the nest egg and what we're building. So how did it happen? Well, my wife and I have always done things pretty standard. We were married quite young for nowadays. I mean, 23 and 24 we started. We had a simple job. Well, not a simple job. We were property managers by trade, which is never a simple job. We managed high-rise condos and luxury condos. But we had a job 9 to 5. We had a shtick. We went to it every day, and we were making good money, and we were doing our thing. But we were normal, and we were trying not to be normal, and we were finding that normal was becoming incredibly obnoxious. And we were living every day in what is, everyone knows, the rat race. And we were lost in this race, and we were searching for something. We were searching for anything. along this line, we got married, as I mentioned, and the first thing our family said to us, you need somewhere to live. We're kicking you out, so please go find somewhere to live. So we bought a pre-construction condo, because at the time it was the condo boom that many people enjoyed. We, with no knowledge and very young, 24, had the circumstance to buy into a condo that didn't get built. It actually ended up, but even worse, don't feel bad for me when we survived, but even worse was that we didn't know what was going to happen. We became limbo. So we got married. We put $40,000 into a pre-construction condo. We were supposed to close within a year on that condo and move into it and start our family. And in fact, what happened is the builder said, you're not going to close in a year, and I don't know when you're going to close. We have some issues, we'll get back to you. 24, 40 grand in the hole or into a trust account, we were stuck. That went on for about 5 years. Now, when we were living in the moment, we didn't know that it was going to be 5 years. We kept hoping month over month over month, this is going somewhere. We're going to go into this condo. So now you can imagine for every event, every family event, every party, every function, every time we saw anybody we know, the very first question they asked us, inevitably, how's your condo? How's that going? Where did you buy again? That's great. So we got sick of that quite quickly, and it led us to this place where now we hated the race, we hated the jobs, we hated what we were doing, and on top of it, we're stuck, we're in limbo, and what are we going to do? We're not going to go buy another house, our money's all tied up there, we've got to still accept this mortgage at some point. What are we going to do? We were stressed straight out and we needed a vacation. So we decided with a couple of our friends, Costa Rica looks great. It was winter time and we decided to go. So we took 2 weeks and we went down to Costa Rica and we had zero plan. We had booked one place. It was called Casa Marbella. It was in Santa Teresa, Costa Rica. On the map, it looked about this far away from the airport. When we got to Costa Rica, we discovered that that's like a day because the streets they're not paved. So we ended up seeing a lot of Costa Rica just by happenstance in the first 10 days of our visit. So when we were there, we enjoyed it. We had, love life. Everything's great. We all have done it, right? How many people, you go away on holidays, you're like, how do I live here? Right? Everybody's done that. That's not not a unique thing. That's a common story. What is different is that when I returned back to Toronto in cold winter night at 2 a.m. in the morning, I went to go fill up my gas tank at the local pump out around the corner from Pearson. When I got there was a man, and I'll never forget it to the day I die. He was pumping the gas in a beat-up old car. And for some reason, that gas pump wronged him, and he decided it was done. That gas pump was coming out, and he just started hoofing and kicking the gas pump. And I remember looking at my wife going, we're out. I'm out of here. These people are crazy. I've had enough. They're kicking the crap out of a gas pump. I gotta go. So we decided right there, right then, we were going to Costa Rica. We didn't know how. We didn't know how long. We just knew we were going to turn our negative into a positive. By any means necessary, we were going to go do something different. So we went home. We planned it all out. We figured out, well, what are we going to do? Where are we going to go? And all those fun questions. And we decided to break the news to our family and friends. I highly recommend, if anybody's in a rut, get your family into a room and say, Dad, I'm going to move to Costa Rica. I really don't know for how long. What are you going to do when you get there? I don't know. Well, that's the response you get. And actually what I got was, and what we got, it took us about 5 months to get everything in order. During that 4 or 5 months, everybody we met that was chirping us about the condo decided now to tell me how crazy I was to be going to Costa Rica. So I couldn't win. Either way I went, I was getting chirped, right? So that just made it so much easier to just eliminate thinking about other people. Because now at this point, I knew they told me to go conventional. I did it, and that didn't work, and I was crazy. Now I'm going crazy, and they're telling me I'm even crazier. Where am I going with this one? So we decided, that's it, we're going with this. Our friends actually even threw us a surprise party. God bless them. They threw a surprise party. Everybody we knew was there. We had no idea, so now the pressure's on us that we've got to go. I mean, we were just kind of hoping to go somewhere, right? But now we got to go. So that's what we had to do. So why did we do Costa Rica? Well, here were the highlights for us. We loved that they didn't have an army. They abolished their army in the 60s, and they decided that no war was going to happen on Costa Rican land, and they were done with it. So they got rid of it, and we really liked that because that fits with my progressive leaning mentality. Their healthcare system was fantastic. What we get in Costa Rica is we have a lot of local Costa Ricans that come from any bit of money. They get sent to the U.S., usually University of Florida or California. They get expertise, education and learning and all the top equipment, and then they come back. As soon as they're done, they come back to Costa Rica and they set up these shops and these clinics all over the countryside. And for $20 a month into the socialist system, we could be part of that, and we could have coverage, and we could be able to get everything we needed. And there we were meeting all these people down there that were actually coming to Costa Rica for the medical benefit and not having to pay $100,000 in the U.S., which gave us a lot of comfort. So we liked that about it. The safe areas, as I mentioned, we saw a lot of the countryside with zero planning, zero knowledge, and we were alive. And so for us, that was kind of important. The people were nice, everybody was good. The countryside, as I mentioned, we saw lots of it, and it was fantastic, but we see that in a lot of places. The climate was great. It was fairly close. I mean, 5 hours is a large number. Really, there's a lot of layovers from time to time. There's not a lot of direct flights from Toronto in. You find that you have to stop in Florida, you have to stop in North Carolina, something like that. But it was all right. It was a decent flight, and we could make it. On top of it all, there were a ton of Canadians, tons of them. They were everywhere, mostly from the West Coast, but there were a lot of Canadians. It felt like home. It just had a feeling to it. They had a really good feel to it. So my first lesson, and the way I want you to approach this is I want you to take back some retirement lessons I learned, and I'm just going to drop them in from here and there. But lesione numero uno. Now, forgive my Spanish. It's been a couple years. But it's great to live in beautiful places, but beach living is much, much slower than our pace. And adjusting to your pace could kill you if you don't do it right. What do I mean by that? When we first got there, after our big decision, the very first thing I learned were 2 words. Tell me if you've heard them. Mañana, mañana. Does anybody know what mañana, mañana means? Tomorrow. That's what I thought it meant too. Turns out, mañana, mañana just means not today. There's a significant difference between tomorrow and not today. Like, when am I going to get it? Tomorrow. Okay, great. Mañana, mañana. Great, I'll see you tomorrow. No. I go there tomorrow and they say mañana, mañana. And it's like, what the hell is going on? It just means not today, Steve. Oh. So every time that we wanted to get something accomplished in Costa Rica, we really had to remember that mañana, mañana is a way of life. They are not words, okay? So you got to just pull back and just let things sort of happen a little easier. So we have some tips. So when you're going to Costa Rica, you have to decide how long are you going to stay? And really, what's your intent? What are you trying to get accomplished in your time? There's always short-term strategies. It's easy to go and stay for short-term. This is how we did it. We toured in there, and every 90 days you have to leave the country. There are people that have been living there for 15, 20 years that have always done this way. Every three months they jump on a bus, they go to Panama, or they jump on a bus and they end up in Nicaragua. They walk over the border, they have their passport stamped, and they walk back over. Now, the rules say you're supposed to take 3 days, but the border at Nicaragua is a little bit holy, there's spots where you can get through, so that's a lax number. But for us, we would go to Florida. I had family in Florida. It was $120 on JetBlue. I live by JetBlue. I know it's been some time since, but JetBlue is a great way at the time to get us around, and we really enjoyed that. So that's what we did. But if your goal was to stay longer, or if your goal was to get some residency, there were options for you. For example, now here we go with our Spanish again. Pensionado status. Pensionado, as it sounds, is for pensioners. So if you're able to prove that you have $1,000 per couple per month of pension income, you can apply for this status. What does that mean? It means that every 3 years, you now have to reapply for this status again, only once. So you do it one cycle, 3 years, you renew. If you're still the same guy, you're good, okay? You can remain in Costa Rica for at least 4 months per year, Okay? And you cannot work, or pardon me, you have to remain in Costa Rica for at least 4 months, and you cannot work for anybody or any company in Costa Rica. Now, it's a real thing. There's a lot of guys, general contractors, if you're there, that trade has no language. I mean, it does, but it doesn't. Spanish is helpful, but if not, tradesmen have the ability to work all through Costa Rica at any time. So, you know, they really frown upon you taking Tico jobs, so that's why that's in the rules. Arrendista status is regular income for investment, at least $2,500 a month for at least 2 years, guaranteed by a banking institution. Or you can put $60K into a Costa Rican bank account. Now, for some of us in this room, that's not so bad. I mean, we can do that tomorrow. Not me, but some of you. You know, it's doable. It's totally doable, and a lot of people do it. But what I found is the most common one is inversionista status. You must invest in a business or property of $200K or more, and you must remain in the country at least half the year. This is very common. As an outsider to the country, you can never buy property in Costa Rica. You as Joe Smith cannot own property in Costa Rica. It's not allowed. But you as Joe Smith can buy a corporation from a lawyer in Costa Rica for $300 US, and that corporation has the ability to buy property all throughout, and that's totally allowed. All right? So if there's a will, there's a way. In Costa Rica, there's always a way. Okay? So that was really common. That's how you do that. Now, go back to my mañana point, because it's going to take you some time, about 4 months, 3 months to go through all that. But that's how you're going to buy property, and that's how you're going to survive or live down there on a permanent basis. So this is where this is where I always get into my stories. At any dinner party I've had since, I've had revenge. From going to the dinner parties where they always chirp me about my condo, now I come back with a mean book of stories. So here's my first one. How we started a wrap shop. We made it down there, and within 2 months, a month and a half, we got bored. I mean, we're young. We were hanging around with a bunch of retirees, and we were just hanging around. We had done a lot of stuff, and we were getting kind of bored already. So what are we going to do? How are we going to survive this way? So we started a wrap shop. We found this little place. If you can see it here, it was just a little shop just outside of Tamarindo, Costa Rica, which was a highly trafficked touristy place. The rent was about $250 US a month, and we were like, okay, well, that's doable. The Ticos that we hired, we had 2 little Tico, they were full-grown adults. They weren't little people, they were full-grown. But we had 2 Tico employees, and they were fantastic. And they were, I mean, we paid them above and beyond what they were expecting, and it was about $10 US a week. And we were overpaying by about $8 US. So the labor was decent. So what did we do? We had walked around the area at every shop and restaurant and every expat and talked to them all and figured out what they were all doing. And all the Italians owned a pizzeria, right? And all the Argentinians had a barbecue place. And all the southern U.S. guys had a better barbecue place. And they would fight over it. And so we didn't know, but we were healthy people and we liked eating wraps here. I mean, we've all heard of pita pit, right? I mean, they didn't have that. So I was like, well, hey, let's throw that in there. There's lots of Canadians. They'll recognize that. They'll understand it. So I ripped off the model of pita pit. And we had a bowl. We filled it up. We filled it up with veggies. We had a barbecue out front. We would hold our barbecue right where our bike is. That's our delivery bike. I don't know if you can see it. It was a cruiser. And so we had that going. And then we would have our barbecue out front. That barbecue would just draw people in. The smell of chicken is unbelievable aphrodisiac, and they just came flying to us. And if that didn't work, on one of my trips to Florida, I picked up a hockey stick. Now, at the time, it cost me about $12 for the stick. It cost me about $4 for an orange ball in the U.S. When I got to Costa Rica and tried to bring it through customs, they had never seen a hockey stick before. So the problem is they go by what's called a black book for them on their taxes. Anything you bring into the country, they take the book value that they got in their little black book and they multiply it by 2, and that's basically, you're going to pay double for whatever it is that you're bringing in. It's really a pain, and it sucks when you try to buy cars because you're buying 1978 cars for $10,000, $15,000. It's ridiculous, but it is the way they do it. So in the end, it cost me $45 to bring the stick and the ball into the country, But once I got it there, I had to make it worth my investment. So I started out front of my shop. There was a little brick wall here. So around 3 o'clock every day, I'd go out with my ball and stick and just start playing keep up and shooting off the wall and sticking around and doing whatever I could just to kill time, to be honest, waiting for the surfers and everybody to come down at 4 o'clock for the sunset. Well, that was a call to Canadians. And I would get Canadians coming out of every hotel and every little villa. They would come popping out, and they'd be like, what are you doing? Who are you, and what are you doing here? So I would always tell them, I'm just killing time, but you should go have a rap. This guy's got something going up here. I mean, you go talk to this guy. He will get you a rap, and you'll be full. You need to do that. So in the end, it was a good business venture for me. But that's what we did, and we realized one thing. When we were here, we were crazy. When we were in Canada, we were crazy. We were unique. Nobody wanted to move to Costa Rica for any period of time. They would visit but not move. But once we moved to Costa Rica, we found that there was hundreds of people, hundreds of them. Expats are everywhere. They love it. And it was a mind shift for us, because you went from being the only one to being one of hundreds, and you don't feel so unique anymore. But we did realize that how those expats survived depended on how many times they had attempted to retire. What do I mean? We found out that for the most part, most people there needed multiple attempts to retire. They couldn't do it all at once because, well, they had family they had to separate from. They had jobs they may have to have left first. They had financing they had to get in place. But they always needed to come back. So we started learning about how they survived. We also learned very quickly that they are very cliquey. So expats like who they like. It turns into a bit of high school. You're all by yourself, and so you sort of fit into a group, and you ride that group out and you live in it. Now the other thing is there's a lot of expats who just live right off the grid. So you have to pick. Do you want to be the guy who's in isolation and just hanging out and enjoying Costa Rica, or do you want to be on the grid and in a group living with other expats? We chose the latter. It was safer. And after 3 months, they'll take you in. But it's like prison in a way. You kind of got to wait and show that you're going to be there for a while first. You know what I mean? Like, you're still a tourist until you're not a tourist anymore. And it's about 3 months. So remember that. You're not going to have friends right away if you decide to retire to a beach. Some of you are going, that's why you're going, right? I don't want to see any more people. I'm done with it. But if you are, that's it. So my lesson on this one is easy. Expats are cliquey. Be yourself and be confident. Otherwise, you will be reclusive and alone. It is always safer when people know who you are and where you are. But please, don't make our mistake and ask too many questions about people's history. They don't want to tell you. When you show up to a South American country, realize that not everybody's there because they had this epiphany in Toronto, Ontario, that they should move to a place. You know what I mean? There's people there that have done some serious stuff, so don't ask questions about them. Just let them be. Just let them be. I won't tell you how I learned that lesson, but here we go. So here's some tips. So setting up a corporation. I mentioned earlier, we had to set up a corporation in order to own the shop. So in order to hire employees, we had to do it. Like I say, it's about $300 US. What happened is the Costa Rican government, when they put in that rule that you couldn't own as a foreigner, all of the lawyers rushed in and just started registering corporations. So XYZ, NYL, any letter or any word, any throwing of names together became a corporation. And each lawyer owns up to 1,000 or more corporations that they just sell to you. So it's an easy transition, right? They're selling their corporation to you, you take it over. Now, as far as banks are concerned, Bank of Costa Rica, very good. Banco Nacional, excellent. We have accounts in both of them still. They're very nice. Scotiabank is the only Canadian bank that is actually down there. They have an office down there. You can speak with Canadians. They live there. They're there. So Scotiabank, if you ever did want to purchase, is probably your best bet. They can transfer funds directly from your home branch here into their branch in Costa Rica, and you'll have no problem. So the other one that's down there is Citibank, but it's a U.S. branch and not really what we were looking for. So those ones are what we gravitated towards. Decide how you want to live. Again, going back to it, there's a couple different options when you live, and this isn't just reclusive, or this isn't just isolated to Costa Rica. My father's in the process of retiring to Nuevo Vallarta in Mexico, which is a new hotspot in Mexico. And he's dealing with the same problems. So I know that it's a transferable problem. Do I live off the grid? Do I buy land? Do I build a house? Do I do it that way? Or do I buy on the grid from a builder who's already there, who owns a big plots of lands and he's just severed them into different lots? Or do I go one step further and buy an actual condo with a property management built into the system, and they'll rent it out for you all year long while you're not there, right? So there's a couple different options that you can go through. It's just all about what you want when you get down there. Do you want other people being able to sleep in your stuff? Our friend last month had an Airbnb going, and it's a great concept. I believe in it, but some people just don't want to do that. So you have to understand what you want to do. The other option is always just rent and just rent in all these cool houses and live all over the place. You can live on the beach and live in cool spots, and it's also a really great option. So this is where I get into with my father. Is this for me, and can I sustain this? Is this possible? Well, do you have a second language, preferably Spanish? Can you do it? Can you pick it up? We found when we were down there, we learned Spanish pretty easily. I didn't have any background in Spanish before I went down there. I survived. I learned enough. I ended up driving a bus one day when we went to go get groceries. The gentleman who was driving the bus decided he had to fix something in the back while we were driving, and said, "Hey, gringo." I come up, and he goes, "Hold this." The wheel? Yeah, okay, I'll hold the wheel. And then he took off. So how much Spanish do I have to know, right? I mean, we were there, we learned it. So Spanish is a good thing. But again, English is very versatile, so you don't have to fret about that. Do you have family and friends that will support your why or the pursuit of your why? This has to be something that you need to do. Because family members are going to detract, and they're going to try to pull you away. You're going to be separated from them for a few months out of the year. It's going to be a problem. Grandkids are involved usually. There's a lot of things, so you need to have a good support system. This is something that you're not even going to think about until you're actually living there. All the rest of the stuff is pretty much, you'll figure that out. But when you get down there, that feeling that you have like, I'm missing something back home, that's a big thing. And that's really one of the reasons why a lot of people can't sustain. They can't do it. They want to. They'd love to, but they just can't get away from the fact that they love their family. They got to be there at the drop of a hat. So know that going into it. And at the end of the day, do you have a reason to wake up and go every morning? It seems like a very simple concept, but when you have no rules and you're living by the beach and everything around you is beautiful and breathtaking, what do you do with yourself, right? Surfers got to surf every day, twice a day. They're out in the water. Fishermen are out at the crack of dawn every day. They fish, right? A gentleman I met by the name of Benito, he was an Italian man, 71 years old. He had skin like leather. All he wore was board shorts. And he was probably down there for about 5 to 10 years when I had met him. His wife was 24. She was 6'1" and a Russian model who was also a baker. Okay, and she was his third wife, and Benito said she was getting up there in age and he may have to renew. So we found out really quickly, Benito was there for one reason. Every day at 4 o'clock when that sun started to set and all those tourists started hitting the beach, Benito would bring his beautiful wife to the beach and he would say, go find some people who want to play volleyball. Inevitably, she would always come back with 10 or 15 girls, and they would all play volleyball until the sun set, and Benito would stand in the middle and enjoy life. But Benito had a reason to wake up every morning, right? So you got to have the same thing, right? You just got to have a reason to want to keep doing something. So that's a big thing. It's a big part of this whole theory. So again, I go back. It may take many attempts before they actually retire to the beach, mentally, spiritually, and in some cases financially. You have to formulate a plan, and you really have to build in that direction. It's retirement, for a lot of us, is way over there. And what I'm saying to you is start thinking about it now. Don't let it be way over there. Don't let it be something. What I learned when I went to and retired in Costa Rica with my wife is that retirement is not a number. It is not 65. It is not something that you can tangibly touch. Because the people I met were 30, they were 70, they may have only been 20. what they all had in common was passive income. They all had passive income, no matter what they did. And they all had a reason to be down there, no matter what. So don't think about it as just a far off, distant thing that someday you're going to retire to the beach and own a house there. Because you know what? That's a dream. But the action will make it real. You really have to make it real. So my tip is, go back to my original tip. Put your family into a room. I don't care. Just put on your best poker face. Put them into a room. Say, listen, we've made some good money in real estate. We're ready. And it's time. I'm moving to this country for 4 months next year, and I'm thinking about staying. Are you okay with that? And see who says yes and see who says no. Because you're going to identify really quick who's going to support your dream. And if that's the case, it's not a calling them out moment. It's just know who's going to support your dream and build your dream with those people, okay? And start visualizing what it means to be retired. Build that plan. When you retire when you're on vacation and you're in this hot place, start thinking about it. Could I live here? What would I do if I was here? What would I do if I was here for 4 months? What would I absolutely do? Living things and making them tangible is what makes them real. We all know that. That's how we got to this room, right? So we got to enforce that and put that in play even when we're thinking about something as far off as retirement. Make it real, okay? So here we go, back to my point. It's a state of mind. I can't stress that enough. It's a state of mind. It's the ability to let go. Time is right now when we live here, we think about time at 9 o'clock. It's the 7th of October, I think. I don't know. But we think about time, and we think about it in durations, right? When you're there, you don't ever look at a clock. You go by the sunshine. So it's morning, I eat, I go and I surf. It's time, I go home. I feel kind of hungry. It's getting pretty hot. I should probably lie down. Maybe I want to golf right now. Oh, sun's going down. I got to get to the beach. There is no such thing as it's 4 o'clock. I got to be somewhere. So don't let that get in your way. It's just a state of mind. You can retire at any age. If you have the passive income and if you have the will, it is a state of mind. I swear to you, I promise you, I've met the people, I've seen them. It is just that. It's very simple. The end of the day, the only question you must ask yourself, how and why do I want to sustain this? If you can come to that answer, then you can build your own dream and insert whatever country you want. Costa Rica is a beautiful one. I vouch for it. That's part of my wife and our family's goal. That's where we want to be. But any country will work. I mean, you just find one you're comfortable in, and you can do it. So why am I Mr. Nest Egg? Tie it all in. Very recently, my wife and I have decided that this is what we're building towards. We're going to take real estate. We're going to take the how that we learn here. We're going to apply it to people that we want to help to get to their why. So we want to build people's nest eggs so that they end up where they want to end up. They end up in their why. And for us, we're going to use the tools that we get through real estate to provide them that ability. So all in all, that is why we're Mr. Nest Egg. That is why the logo's there and the brand. And we really believe in our why, and we hope you do too. I hope you learned something tonight. God bless. Yeah, sure. Okay, so this is the thing. We were down for about a year and a bit, just over a year. Why did we come back? We came home for a rainy season. Rainy season down there is about 2.5 months long. It runs pretty much right now, give or take. Rainy season is horrible in one sense. The roads are not asphalt. So what they do is they drop concrete down. That's just unmixed concrete. And then it rains, and that turns to real concrete. And then you start walking in your sandals, and your boots get stuck, and your legs get stuck, and the power goes out, so get used to, there's no power for the 2 months of rainy season. No internet, there's no water sometimes. A lot of the pumps are all turned off. So we were dealing in this life, right? So we were like, you know what we need now is a vacation. We got to go home. So we went home for a break to see our family. We were hanging around for 2 months, and then my wife came to me one day and said, hey, guess what? I'm pregnant, and my daughter's coming. So, yeah. So what we did is we said, look, we're going to build towards this. We now have the advantage that we know things that others at 30, at the time we were only 28, we know things that at 28-year-olds aren't thinking about. My mind has been opened. I'm ready to go. The time is now irrelevant. I have a plan. So we turned a period of our time, and it just so happened, fate just so happened, the condo started being built 2 months after we had decided that we were going to stay with our daughter. Our condo was miraculously built. We closed on it in like 7 months, 8 months, and everything just sort of worked out really well for us. So life pulled me away, and for the last little while, I've been trying to figure out how this whole thing plays into it, but this is where I'm at now. Okay? Any other questions? Yeah. So cost of living, I'd say if you go like $700 US a month, you're going to live, you're going to survive, you're going to eat really well, and you're going to have everything you need, okay? Rent-wise, like I say, we were paying in some places, if you're out of town, you're a little bit off the grid, you can get down as low as like $500 for some villas in some places. But if you want to be luxurious and you want to live in a high-rise, you want a gated security, you want the guard, the pool, the flash, you're like $1,500 US. Everything's in US, right? So it's where you want to fit in. Profitability-wise, a friend of ours, I just gave this little one-on-one presentation to, I guess, before it was a real presentation. They went down there in January, bought a place for $171,000 US. It's a condo with property management and everything, and it's been booked at $1,500 a week from the time they bought it till next January. I tried to get a free trip off of them, and they were booked. So yeah, I mean, the rents are good if you get the right town and you get the right spot, and it's got what people are looking for. It could be a good spot for you.
Would you say that $2,500 a month would be a good lifestyle?
If you have $2,500 a month, yeah, $2,500. I mean, again, it comes down to the passive income. You just can't have the ability. You don't have to have the weight on your shoulders. You got to pay bills back here. If you can live, like I'm telling you, $2,500 is way too much. Like you can live on like $1,000, right? Like $1,000, you're living a good life. It's just a matter of I don't want to pay things back home while I'm down there. So the passive income really makes a difference for you. In the back.
I just want to thank you for the motivation. I sit here every week thinking about the exact same thing. And I've been a contractor for 35 years. My wife is an interior designer. Right now we are living home for 2 years until our son is done college, and we're gone.
Yeah.
And we're buying a building. It's going to become a bed and breakfast or a luxury vacation rental property.
Absolutely.
It's going to have a balcony and no window, and going to run a vacation/tour business. It's going to be called Stephen's Site.
I love it. I love it.
I met you, yes, but to hear you up here, dude, it really, like I said, everybody's got their niche in this room, and I get really motivated. But I have to kind of keep quiet back here because it seems ridiculous when I say it. But
You're not crazy,
There you
man.
go.
You're not crazy. I'm here to tell you, you're not crazy. There are people there.
before we get closer,
There you
Do it.
go.
Casa Marbella. If anything I can tell you, look up Casa Marbella. The couple that owns that place, they're from Southern Florida. They did it right. They were landscapers. They went down there. It cost them $1 million when they built the most beautiful place, and it cash flows ridiculous. Casa Marbella, #1 on TripAdvisor. I highly, if that's your dream, man, go look at it.
Okay.
south of France, Baltic.
There you go.
You got big dreams. I like them. Okay, well that's, hey,
Thank you very much.
no problem, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Suzanne, we'll take the last question. Suzanne?
Sorry, I'm pushing time.
No?
Well, you know what? Locals live down there on such a simple way. Okay, so Ticos and Costa Ricans, that's what drew us to it. They're simple people. They don't want much and they don't live for much. So if you were to tell them $500 US in rent, which is the bottom, I mean, that's more than they make in 10 months, right? So no, it's not Ticos. What we found, and it's an advantage because you're Canadian, because you're here. Your best marketing is to everybody you know. Everybody wants to be in Costa Rica. Who doesn't like Costa Rica, right? So what I found is the best mode of promoting your spot is here. The trick is everybody down there is fighting for the tourists that come off the plane. None of them live here. Now, I have a caveat to that. My wife and I are setting up to do some tours next year. If you're interested, if it's something you want to do or you want to think about, give us your email address and we'll let you know in the new year. It's something to think about. But that's
There you
something.
go.
All right?
That was a surprise. Very
There you
good.
go. I'll
Very
slip
good.
that in.
You know, very good. Thank you very
It's
much.
a surprise to my wife, too.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. So apparently you're going on a tour next year.
Yeah, we're going on tour. Did you know? No.
No, okay.
Leave Duke with somebody.
Thanks very much, Steve. Thank you very much. Wasn't that wonderful? Yeah. Yeah, very good.
Durham REI, real estate investors focused on the Durham region. We network, educate, and support each other. Come out to a meeting by visiting durhamrei.ca.